Hello everybody and welcome to week 4. This week we're talking about the role of public relations in society. We've already talked about how public relations can be used as a kind of power equalizer between organizations and stakeholders, as each side can use similar communication tactics in order to affect change and or build relationships with the other. This week, your reading talks about the idea of social capital, or the capital that's invested in the relationships that we build with each other. It builds on Putnam's theory that we are losing connections in society as we become more segmented and technologically based. Organizations fit into the role here because the reading argues that public relations can be used to rebuild these connections. And we look at how public relations can do that specifically through the idea of corporate social responsibility, or the idea that organizations have obligations to go beyond their bottom line in order to have a positive influence on society. So this week's lesson then combines the idea of social capital, building connections, as well as corporate social responsibility. Not only is this another way to build on the idea of reputation, in that social capital is inherently linked to the idea of trust, as well as the idea that past interactions will lead to future interactions, therefore creating connections. And that idea is implicitly linked to the idea of reputation, because the actions that an organization takes build trust with stakeholders and then build a positive reputation. So we're building on what we learned last week, but the idea of reputation is much more implicit this week as we talk about the connections that organizations can build using public relations. There's a second half to the lesson, although not a second reading, that deals with the ideas of issues management and social marketing. So issues management we talked about a bit when we did covered government public relations. So this just kind of like expands on that idea and gives you some examples. And then social marketing is yet another way that organizations can use public relations to influence change. So taken together, this week's lesson and reading give you a really detailed look at areas of public relations that are not quite the standard brand building or marketing that we are used to talking about when we talk about public relations. Additionally, in some large companies such as Johnson & Johnson, corporate social responsibility has its own department, so this could very well be an area of public relations that you decide to go in after you graduate. The activity for this week is similar to the State of the Field activity in that it asks you to research organizations and then analyze their efforts in terms of corporate social responsibility and make a larger statement about what corporate social responsibility looks like along different dimensions in practice today. So this is another, it's not too lengthy, but it's an activity that you should start ahead of time so that you have time to complete your presentation and upload it. If you had a chance to view the PowerPoint presentations and feedback that I gave on your State of the Field activity, you'll remember that I said if the audio that you embed in your presentation gets too big to upload the file to Angel, you can always use a site called Dropbox or Google Docs or Google Drive in order to send me the link to your presentation. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I also have office hours between 1 and 2 on Thursday. If you can't make it to those, we can always set up another time to meet if you're interested. So all that said, I hope you really enjoy the lesson and have a great week.